This is the one thing that terrifies people who are going to be interviewed. It's not knowing what questions are going to be asked. But actually, that's not the thing that's terrifying. The thing that's really terrifying is not being in control, the feeling of not being in control of the situation, and the fear of being made to look like a fool, like you don't know your stuff, like you're not an expert, like you're not on top of your thing. That's the real terror. But when people talk to me about their biggest concern, it is, I don't know what question they're going to ask me, and it's quickly followed with, I don't feel I'm in control. So today I'm going to share with you what you can do so that you don't feel like this. Well, a couple of things. So you're going to be interviewed. Hooray! Congratulations, well done. This is an opportunity. And remember, have fun too. It's not just about terror. So what can you do? You cannot control what people ask you. You cannot control what people ask you unless you've got the sort of interview lined up where you actually provide the questions, and that's not the kind of thing that I do or I'm involved with, so I'm not your person. But if you are genuinely being put up for an interview, then this is what you can do. 1, it's about what you do to prepare for the interview. That's step 1. And step 2 is it's about what you do during the interview. Yes, I'm stating the obvious, but it's really important. And it's born of decades of having interviewed many, many, many hundreds of people and being shocked, to be perfectly honest, at how people don't know fundamental basic information about their own company, industry, trends. Goodness gracious, right? What are you doing if you don't know these things? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're an expert, you're in your silo, you are drilling down, and you're not looking around and joining up dots. That's a huge problem. So then somebody like me comes along, and what we do is we look around, we join up the dots, and we ask you a question, and you freeze, panic. You can't find the way to answer it. That's really what it's about. It's about finding a way to answer it. Preparing for the interview. This is what I suggest you do. You find out the facts around the reason why you're being interviewed, who you're being interviewed by, what the context is, how long it's for, how it's going to be used. Is it part of a report? Are you going to be used, say, as a soundbite? Are you a main guest in something? You're going to be interviewed for a few minutes as part of a bigger program. Finding out this context gives you something to anchor your thinking around. So, for example, if you find out that you are part of a report about your industry, then you can think around that, right? And we'll get onto that in just a moment. If you know that you are a main guest and your segment is going to be, 4 minutes long, which is very, very long in TV land, by the way, then you know that, find out who's before you, after you, how do you fit into the program, the running order, what has already been embedded in people's minds as a result of other reports and information that's already gone out. So the point is this: find out who's interviewing you, why they're interviewing you, how it's going to be used, what's the context and the actual physical, literally, way it's going to be used. Is it a soundbite, a report, a main interview, and so on. Find out the facts to do with your work. This is really basic stuff. But again, people don't know really basic information, like, say there's your company's numbers came out, there's a report that's came out, and you should know what the headline numbers are there. Because chances are you're going to be asked about it. Maybe, maybe not, because you're not in control of the questions. Really important. But knowing that is important for you and for where you work, and you can feed it into answers. Is it better, worse, the same? Why is that? What's going on? What's that bigger picture? So find out the facts to do with your place of work, with the company, with what's going on internally and externally. So find out facts to do with your industry. with what's going on with the world and your industry, with trends, predictions, things in the news. You know what? The fourth thing is this. Find out what the news is. Read the headlines. Literally, even if it's just a glance at the headlines, I'm sure that you'll be able to put two and two together and figure out what's going on. So that's four things. 1, who is interviewing you? Why? What's the context? 2, find out the facts to do with your place of work and what you're doing there. 3, your industry. Do the same for your industry. And 4, know what's going on in the world. It's really key. You could be asked about any or all of these things. Sometimes questions, it's one question, but it brings in more than one element, right? But even if you're not asked about these things, maybe you have an opinion about these things that's to do with the trends, the globe, what's going on, something else that's happening that your industry can help with, can be part of. If you can marry up information, give it context, make it relevant to what's already in people's minds, it's, in terms of, say, headlines and what's going on in the world at large, then you bring it into your answers. And that does a few things. It makes it more interesting, more relevant to the bigger picture, what's going on around us, but it also makes you more interesting and more relevant because you're somebody who can join the dots, who's not going to be linear in your thinking and in your silo. You are able to look around, bring things together, put your take on it, your expertise, and share it. It is brilliant when you do that. It's brilliant for your company and place of work, but it's also brilliant for you personally because it's part of your own personal brand, being able to do this. People who are tuning in will actually pay attention and they will remember you for the right reasons. This is really, really important. So take a step back. When I started this, I said the biggest fear is not knowing the question and not being in control. Well, when you know facts, things that you can refer back to, I say facts are your new best friends. That's how you need to think about them. You refer back to facts, you refer to things going on that will bring things to life, essentially. Then you just feel so much better. You feel so much more, you feel comfortable, right? And that is when you feel in control. You feel in control when you feel comfortable, when you feel confident that you can actually address things, that you're not going to be cornered. You can broaden things out, that you can bring things in that will back up what you're saying, explain what you're saying, give context, make it relevant, make it interesting to people tuning in. Those are the key things. So to remove the terror, it's about being comfortable. And you're only ever going to be comfortable when you know the facts to do with what you're doing, but also the layers around that. That's the only time you can really, truly come into your own and feel very, very comfortable. Does it mean that you'll be able to answer every single question brilliantly or even know all the information that's being asked of you? Maybe not. But again, if you are comfortable and you are armed with these facts and this bigger picture stuff, the way you react to being asked something that's totally left of field is going to be very different to if you were already on the back foot and already unsure, not comfortable, anxious, and feeling that you don't have any control. So what do people remember? They remember the vibe that you give off, literally. They're not going to remember every single word that you say. So it's that thing of your vibe, that feeling, that the presence that is you in that situation. That's what people will remember. And to have it, being comfortable with what you're doing is key. So there you have it. Will you always be in control? Maybe. Will it be comfortable? Only if you have the facts that are your new best friends, and the ability to look beyond just your silo and your linear approach to what you do, what your company does, but then look at the bigger picture of the world and what's going on, trends, industry, and so on. Have your own opinion about things. I know that sometimes you can't share your own opinion, but you can share information around it, your take on things, right? And your expertise. I mean, you are an expert at what you do. You have your take on things, you have your gut instinct, you have your own way of looking at things. Make it relevant and interesting to other people. And how do you do that? You do that by tuning into what is interesting to them, right? And yeah, you will get over the humps of the speed bumps, let's say, of being surprised by a certain question. If there are facts that you just don't know, be honest, say you don't know, but maybe give context, right? So we know it's more, it's less, it's double, it's half, it's a big problem, it's headed in the right direction. Do you see what I mean? Again, that idea of your expertise coming through, even if the actual number cannot be shared. And so remember, you control nothing other than how you prepare for the situation, for the interview, and how you behave and react during the interview. The biggest thing that people will remember is how they felt when they watched you or listened to you. And if they felt, this person knows what they're talking about, this person is really comfortable, this person is really brilliant at, this person really knows their stuff, this person is not afraid of saying, I don't know, this person is not afraid of, being human. That's when you are in control. So there you have it. If you want to know more about these sorts of things, communicating effectively with impact and influence, then subscribe. If you want to learn the building blocks of how to do this, get in touch. If you have any thoughts, questions, experiences that you want to share, please post them in the comments below. I will see you next time. Bye. I hope things are good in your world. You know what? I'm making a commitment to this space to create more content around what I know to be true, things that I think are really important to share with you that'll make a big difference in your life, that'll help you sustain your success. So if this is the kind of thing that's interesting to you, if you like what you just saw and heard, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It'll make a huge difference to me because it means that you want more, and I will give you more. More of the stuff that I know will mean the difference between you being chosen or not, sustaining yourself and your success or not, and having choice, How about it? Hit the subscribe button. It would mean a world of difference to me. Thank you.